Hey Team Luna, we had a couple of people that wanted to go over how I simmed my character when I am opening a vault or when I'm simming anything else. So I wanted to make a quick video for that. You can watch it. This is by no means comprehensive or makes me an expert. It's just kind of what I do. And it's the kind of thing that if you don't know how to do it, then you're not going to know how to do it. So I figured I would share with you. So it starts with two things. One, you need an add-on called Simulation Craft, or SimC. You'll hear people call it this. And then you also need this website called RaidBots, right there. So those are the two things you need. You just install it, and then I will show you what it does. So you can actually sim the loot that is in your vault before you select what you take. So we'll open up. I've already looked at it ahead of time. So it seems pretty obvious what I'm going to pick. I'm going to probably pick this myth track thing, but while the vault is open, if you just type /simc and hit enter, it's going to pop this up. And this is going to give you the simulation craft string for what we're going to put into raid bots to sim our gear. So you just copy this, and then when you come over here, you can drop this. Sorry, my DPI swapping. You can drop it into this SimC like paste bin. So once you're on the website, I'm going to describe what these things are very quickly. Top gear sims what the best gear in your bags, or in our situation, what we select to sim. More on that in a second. Droptimizer allows you to sim content like raid content or crafted gear or Mythic Plus vault kind of breakpoints, and it will tell you what each item is for upgrade. A quick sim is just going to spit out your current raw like damage profile and how much you are simming given any given spec, or like all these things that we'll go over. I don't do anything with advanced, but under more there is gear, and you can do something called gear compare, which I'll describe briefly, but it's very self-explanatory. Okay, we'll start with top gear. I'm going to paste my sim or my SimC into here, and you'll see that it pulls up my current talents and gear. You can set things to here based on like you can see that I have 2,000 Valorstone craft and I currently have 29 Gilded Crests. It will You can basically set how many catalyst charges you have available to and set these things based on what you're looking for. I just leave it natively set for the vast majority of the time and choose to do like my item upgrades and things manually based on like what it looks like at the end. When you go into here, you will see all of the gear that is in your bag. So all of the stuff that is highlighted is what I currently have equipped. All of the stuff that's not highlighted is stuff that is in my bags but not equipped. And all of the stuff that is highlighted with this little dotted line is the stuff that is in my vault. So when we select these items, it chooses to only pick one of these things because you can only take one thing from your vault. So you can click them to include them in the sim. And obviously, I know some of these things aren't going to be upgraded just because of like item level disparity. It's going to be pretty obvious what I'm taking. I'm going to be taking this myth track thing, but just for the sake of description, I'm going to select a bunch of stuff. And then you'll have all your trinkets here, and you'll have like a main hand, offhand is kind of weird. You have to have one of each of them. It is not very good at simming. Like, so I have this offhand. So which main hand should I get? You can sim that separately in the gear compare. That'll be later. Once you've selected the stuff that you want to sim, then you can come down here and do like item embellishments. So not embellishments like the gear item, but stuff you put on your gear. So you can sim all of these different weapon enchants, all of the different stuff for rings, for bracers, for all this stuff. Be mindful that as you add stuff, it's going to increase this iteration thing. I think I have like a paid version of this, so I can sim up to 16 million iterations, but your mileage may vary. If it exceeds this number, it will not do the sim. I'm going to show you what a gem sim looks like. I very often sim the gems along with the stuff, just because as when my stats change, my stat priority changes, if my gear wants more, or if my character wants more verse or something like that, I constantly kind of sim these gems alongside it to see if I need to swap what I'm putting in my sockets. I'm not actually going to run the sim because I've already ran it prior to this, but it takes a very long time the more you add the stuff. So it's the kind of thing you go plug this in and then go cook dinner and then come back and your sim will be done. Here is all my builds. You can see I have like a raid cleave build, right? Like yada yada yada. This is self-explanatory. You can click these different things, toggle on and off, and it will sim all of them. If you check nothing, it will do what's currently equipped, which is my single target build, just for the sake of argument. I don't ever mess with this. You can mess with this if you want to see like a longer boss length. I literally usually just want to see what a unpull, what my gear is going to kind of look like. And then you go down here and you click find top gear, and it runs for a very long time. But I've already done it, so I'm going to pull up my sim. I believe is this top gear sim. So after it's done, you'll see your talents and you'll see all kinds of stuff. Basically, what this is telling me is the highlighted thing is what I should take from my vault. If you have other gear in your bags, and like let's say I had like some of the hands that I had in my bags but weren't in the vault, that happen to be bigger than what you currently have equipped, it'll highlight it just like this. So it's going to highlight all of the changes that it is recommending. So you'll see this is my simmed. If I make the changes it recommends, this is what my character is going to sim in 5-minute patchwork single target. What it's telling me is that I need to take these shoes, which is very obvious, but what it's also telling me is that I need to change my gems. Now, this is likely for this particular sim within the margin of error. I think I want haste crit. It's telling me to take first crit. But it will tell you basically what is the actual optimized gems to be putting in your sockets. And it is accurate. The margin of error for me on this particular sim is within 1,350 DPS. That is practically dead on. So even when it seems weird, it is right. Like 99.99% of the time. Okay, so once you've determined what you're going to pick, you can scroll down here and it will tell you all the iterations. So you can see this is what this is telling me. It's telling me that if I change the gems in my rings and my neck, and if I equip those shoes, then I will get a 0.7% DPS increase. If you click this relative DPS right here, if you uncheck it, I don't know why I just took the number away. Let me pull this in up again. It'll tell you the actual number amount DPS, which for me it's like 20k. I don't know why I just blanked it right there, probably because I highlighted it weird. And then below that, you'll see all the different iterations. So it's like if I don't change my gems, but I only take the shoes, it'll only be this much. If I take a different piece, it'll be this much. All the way down to your current gear, and then it will start telling you, yeah, it's when you highlight it, sorry. Current gear. Weird. Okay. Then it will tell you like how much below different iterations are. So you can see some of the things that I simmed are really bad. It's like minus like 180k, so don't do that. So that tells me what I'm going to take from my vault. Sometimes it's closer than this, sometimes it's a little more complicated. Sometimes trinkets are weird. I have like some tinfoil about these delve trinkets, and I think that sometimes they're sim bait, but by and large, this stuff is dead on. So moving on to the next one. Droptimizer. Again, I'm going to put my paste bin in here. And you can choose content. So you can choose like the world, you can choose the raid, Mythic Plus, so on and so forth. So what I'm going to run just to show you is a Mythic Dungeon Sim, all dungeons from a +10 vault. So when I'm looking for things out of vault, or if you want to see like what can drop from the end of dungeon that is an upgrade, I can run it like this. So after you run that, oh, actually, I think I just did a quick sim. Yeah, this is what it looks like when you just do a quick sim. This is my current gear. It literally just spits out what your current DPS is and the breakdown of all your abilities and how much they're doing. This is just useful if you kind of just want to see what you're pumping. Oh, I know what I was going to show you. The other way that I do AoE simming is kind of difficult. You have a lot of options. So Patchwork is a single target boss. If people don't know, there was a boss called Patchwork. It was a single target boss. That's why it's called this. You have other options where you can change the number of bosses, and you can also change this to different iterations of this. So like Dungeon Slice is like accounting for multiple targets, and it's like a 5-minute kind of snapshot of a dungeon. You will notice when you click this, it says check your class Discord to see if it works. So it just depends. So I don't use this a lot. Target Dummy is, couldn't tell you the difference between Patchwork and Target Dummy. The other things that people often use are Hectic Ad Cleave. This one has historically been pretty plagued with bugs and inconsistencies, and I do not believe is a very accurate AoE sim option. So what I do, if I want to see like what an average big key like ad pack will look like, is I'll actually do a Patchwork sim, and then I'll change the number of bosses to 5. So let's say, like, what do I want it to be like if I am pulling 5 random fortified mobs in a dungeon? You can keep the timer the same or whatever you want to do like that. But then when you click it, hopefully it runs fast. Patience. It's going to spit out what the amount of DPS that you're going to do on 5 targets that live a long time. So this is 5 targets that live for a minute. How much damage am I going to crank? So I think that this is a more accurate way to sim AoE. I just simmed this, mind you, with my single target talent, so this number would change if I changed my talents or selected the different build within raid bots, but you get the idea. Back to Droptimizer. So I ran earlier a Droptimizer from Liberation of Undermine, Heroic. For my current gear, obviously I haven't opened my vault. But this is going to tell you every item from every boss, if it is an upgrade, and how much it is an upgrade. Now keep in mind, as you get upgrades, this will change. You have to run the sim again. But as you can see, when you go down here and prioritize it by priority, it'll tell you what the biggest item, well, and I'm still simming 5 targets, so you would need to go change that, but you get the idea. The biggest DPS increase for me is going to be the miniature roulette wheel from One Arm Bandit. Obviously, you can see I need rings and trinkets. So it takes all of these items, and you can kind of prioritize what you're looking for on your character sheet. And likewise, you can see things that you think might be upgrades, but are not. So, for example, something that is kind of surprising on my character is that Eye of Kazan, for my character, is a 0.26% DPS loss. Even though my brain is telling me I really want an Eye of Kazan. The math doesn't lie, it is simming lower. Provided that the Delve trinkets are not sim bait, this is not an upgrade. And this is very accurate, so you can kind of trust this. Likewise, I also simmed like Mythic plus 10 vaults. So like I want to max my box out of, plus 10 keys. What can I possibly get out of the vault that'll be a massive upgrade? As you can see, it's like everything right now because I haven't done that. But you can also kind of prioritize these. Also, if you ran this as like the end of dungeon 10s, you could see like which dungeons do I have the most things that I can target. So like, for example, I need to run a whole lot of Theater of Pain right now. So I use this to kind of plan what I'm after, and I do this like kind of on a weekly basis. I do it at the beginning of my vault before I pick things. Sometimes I delay my vault to see what I get on the first day of patch, and I use it to evaluate these sockets quite often. I do a lot of simming, as you can see. So I hope this is helpful. Like I said, this is stuff that a lot of people probably know already, but this is the kind of thing, if you never do it, then you don't know. I guess there was one more thing I was going to show you. Yeah, the other thing I was going to show you was gear compare. So if you come in here and drop your paste bin, and it'll transfer. I'm just pasting it just to make sure. But you can actually type in like any loot piece and set like the, I don't even know if this comes with this denomination, but just for the sake of example. You can add Eye of Kazan twice. Maybe. And put it in both trinket slots. And then obviously if you get other like loot pieces that will accommodate enchantments, you'll have different tabs here for gems and enchantments and all this different stuff. You can sim what it looks like if you were to add a socket to your bracers, for example, like if your vault sucks and you're trying to debate where to put it. And then compare items, and it will tell you if it is an upgrade. So bear with me this one last sim. It should go fast because I pay for it. Hopefully. Remember that I have messed up. I have continuously set this at patchwork 1 min and 5 targets, so if you want to do something different after you do something like that, you'll need to change it. So as you can see, it is like a diabolical DPS loss for me to take that thing. I do this with crafted items a lot. I do this with like deciding when to stick stuff in the catalyst. Like there's like what piece I want in the catalyst. Like so for example, right now my head is not catalyzed while the other 4 things are. If I get a mythic track chest piece, I've got a decision to make. Do I want to catalyze this, or do I want to leave, or do I want to leave this as, or do I want to catalyze this one and leave this? So you can like run these stat numbers and see which decision that makes the most sense. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. See you in raid.